Well, good evening. Here at Floyd County School of Innovation, we were blessed to have the opportunity to work with KVEC and have some money appropriated to build a work table. And in that, a bunch of our boys, as they began that, we went over several different things, inspiration and purpose and where the money's going and all that. But in that, the boys had the opportunity to look at the different, did some research looking at different tables, how they were configured, how they were put together in all kinds of different ways so they could try to come to a general consensus, as that would be with it. And in that they actually did a reasonable job with this. And we appreciate the opportunity. So in our core curriculum, it is construction, OSHA, safety, related all the way. So in that, they were given the opportunity to use all the tools that we have here at the facility and began cutting up this wood that was purchased, the 2x4 tops and the bottom plate for we could use the second shelf. In that, they had decided to go ahead and build a miter saw, a swing down miter saw in the midst of it to begin to use it even more. And then that we began using the wet dry vac, which caught most of our dust here, there, and everywhere else because we were working in a confined space in our school classroom in which we were working in. So that began catching to that, and we were able to clean the area up and have a little bit better working environment for all of them. And I had 3 different groups in one class, and the other classes I broke them up in different groups. Designated lead persons, crew leaders, so that they had designated jobs and performances to do that day. I would assign each of them what needed to be done, and in that they correlated together and began working on the process. I worked through with each of them as they were trying to get their measurements and trying to understand how it was designed and how we were going to put it all together, and how each individual group, when it was all done, it would essentially make this table. So they got several different fundamental principles by working together, working with all the tools that we have, and then assembling it and seeing how the others had put theirs together, and seeing how each project as it came together, such as on a construction job and everyone doing their individual projects, they were getting a little bit of real life experience in this. So we were blessed and had the privilege for that. We really thank you. And you can see as we began with our initial cost for all of that, and we consumed all that in the midst of it. We used the 10-foot 2x4s. It was easier to just get those, and we can make our different cuts in it. You will see in some of our pictures here in a minute. They worked diligently on the cuts. They used the squares and levels, all the power saws and the drills and everything else we had to try to put it all together. And each group did that. We used the casters for the bottom part of it so that we could move the table in and out, get it away from the front of the classroom and move it down the aisles so that it wouldn't be in the midst of everything, so we could go ahead and use the classroom and the dry erase board and the big screen so that we could use it. That has been very, very handy for us to move it in and out of the way and just get it out when we needed it. And in that, they learned how to use the safety features of all of it. Every one of them got used to wearing safety glasses, earplugs, and gloves at certain times, but safety glasses are pretty well essential. How to run the drills properly, how to run the saws properly and correctly. So they were making correct cuts and seeing some of their mess ups on some of it when they would make a measurement. And we would put it in and I said, a little bit short this way or that way. I said, you may have to try that again. So, it's trial and error, and as it is and with every job. And those pieces that didn't fit, we used them in other places for a framework and so forth. So they did real well with it. It was a blessing. Here you can see we have a pictorial somewhat on it. You can see towards the middle where we have the 2x4s laying on those tables. We kind of give those tables a hard life. Those are our regular desks. And then that as they worked to get all that together, and then you can see we built the structure so that the miter saw, as it swung in and out, it would stay sturdy enough. You can see we have just a smidgen of some of the boys. We have 5 of them here from our early morning class standing in it, showing you the finished project. You know, and you can see them putting legs on it and so forth. So, you know, they got a little bit of an idea of why we needed it structurally, what length, and put it in there, our bottom shelf, how to build the structure for our miter saw, and then have the support for it and have all of that. So they got quite a bit of experience through this. And it was trial and error in certain occasions. I would give them the room to go ahead and do it. I didn't stand over them and insist on this, that, and everything else. I watched their safety. I watched how they were going about it, but they did fine. They did great. They did all right for a bunch that had done this, and they had built birdhouses at the beginning of the year, and they were like, But thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to work with you and through your project, and through your program, to purchase all this material and allow these young men the opportunity to build this. And my plans are, as next year comes along, we're going to make further improvements to that table. As we build it, we didn't think that far ahead. So it's 4 by 8. So we landlocked ourselves. It can't go outside of this room. So next year, we're going to cut it down to where we can get it in and out of this room, and then build some shelves for all of our other power equipment and so forth. So this is a beginning. And all of these people, the graduates, we're going to have them to initial it and put their names and so forth on it, so that everyone can see that they had something to do with it. And hopefully this table stays here in this facility for this particular class for a long time. So thank you very much. The men, as you can see their smiles, they were tickled to death to finally get it to a workable condition. So appreciate your time, appreciate the opportunity, and y'all have a great day.